Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. I am Coach Les, and I am here with Sujata Tiwari, author of Against All Odds. Sujata has accumulated a wealth of experiences during her life, leading to insights and knowledge that cannot be coached or taught in a class. She's been a mother, a wife, a journalist, a consultant, an activist, a leader, and businesswoman domestically and internationally. In sharing her story, Sujata strives to provide readers of all backgrounds in any part of the world with real-life examples on how to deal with the unpredictable nature of everyday life. And if you are on social media, you will see I'm showing you a picture of the book, Against All Odds, no replays, no manuals, real life lessons. And I am honored to have Sujata as my friend, as my co-host. We are here together. We are here on Wednesday afternoons, Central Standard Time, and we are also here in Clubhouse, and we are creating this podcast and inviting people to come and be with us and join us on Clubhouse or on social media. The difference there is you can't share with us verbally, whereas on Clubhouse, we'll be able to include you in the conversation and your voice will go into the broadcast, which is currently being broadcast on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, on 6 different sites. You can check it out, both Sujata's Facebook and site and mine. And on Clubhouse, we are in the Ziegler Legacy Club. And I just want to say hello to Arise. He's joining us. And Arise, welcome. And Sujata and I are going to start a conversation here. And we would love it if, as you listen in, get ready to, if you're interested in sharing, we will invite you to speak. I did bring you up on stage. Gave you that little green bean, which everybody searches for on Clubhouse. And also, if you would be so kind as to put out to Clubhouse. So what do they call that? Share to Clubhouse. Share on Clubhouse what we're up to. And there's your daughter. Yay! Oh my goodness gracious. Lotus is in the house. I am absolutely tickled. Woohoo! Yes. So thank you so much. I'm clear that Lotus will definitely add a ton to this conversation tonight. And Sujata, I'm going to hand the mic over to you. And if you would like to say hello and say welcome to everybody.
Welcome to my friend and partner, Coach Les, who always walks the talk and does things selflessly for others' upliftment. And I can't appreciate that enough. And thank you to Arise for taking out time. Time is the greatest gift. And for you to be here, it means a lot. And of course, to Lotus, who's always there from start to finish. Like from time to time, she will pop in, but she is there intrinsically. Thank you.
I love it. I think it's great. And I'm just blessed to be I've become part of the Tiwari family. I now have met every member and spoken with every member, which I see as a huge privilege. Lotus, I got to speak to your brother, and that was a privilege that I will cherish, as it was a great experience. Yes.
By the way, the other daughter is also there.
Oh, hi, Mitty. Lightning is in the house. Yes. Now we need conscience to pop in. Now that would be the trifecta.
That's like moving a mountain. I don't think it will happen.
Oh, yes, it will. I have this thing called patience, and I know with patience it
And
will,
hope.
and
Yeah.
lots of that. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right, Sujata. Well, what are you what do you have cooking that you want to share with us to get started on tonight's conversation? I have a couple of things, but ladies first.
No, I think then you go first. I always like to listen to uh, people's perspectives and wisdom. I can always share my wisdom later on.
Well, for me, I think the conversation on Wednesday, on our podcast on Wednesday, for the last 2 weeks, we've spoken about respect, and how respect is missing in the world. Respect for people, even on a fundamental level, as speaking to somebody at a cash register, speaking to a dishwasher, speaking to somebody at a gas station, acknowledging, even at a car wash, we all have our windows up, and you go in, and the guy that's spraying the car in the front with a high powered spray and around the wheel wells, to make eye contact and wave, or to salute him and say hello or her. To me, that's fundamentally part of the respect conversation that we've spoken about the last 2 weeks. Tonight, I'm interested in sharing, what is it to be a coach? What is it to be a speaker? And what is it to be somebody that delivers in conversation words, ideas, viewpoints in such a way that the communication that is delivered into the listening, as I consider everything out there, everybody is currently in the listening to what I currently am speaking, and then when you speak also, there is a responsibility that I see that I have in speaking to that listening, that I want to make sure that people that come in and listen to what I'm saying can understand what I'm saying, that they can actually take the concept of what I'm speaking and put it into their own life and look and see, how does this fit or purpose in my own life? Whereas many times, and as we experienced tonight, and you and I were talking about just a few minutes ago, there are many speakers that get up there and they regurgitate quotes from different authors, and they regurgitate scripture, and they put out so much content, and they just keep pouring out this content that, for me, leaves people drowning in content with nothing to solidify the understanding of or the use of in their own life. What do you think about that, Sujata?
Okay, so my thoughts are the following. I see that happening a lot, and I've always maintained this, that when you keep giving content which is theoretical in nature or which is prescribed through other experts or books or authors, and which do not relate to real life experiences or what you actually do, there's a disconnect. So if you're in a classroom of any sorts and you're listening, you would have seen or heard of the phrase water off a duck's back. So that's how I would like to say. I can listen and I'll really give it my due attention, but after some time I will switch off Because if it doesn't resonate to my now, a lot of these speakers will, and I heard them, they will say, be in the moment, or do now, and don't have don't think about the past and don't think about the future. I With respect, I would like to say that on the past is built the future. Okay, so if we learned lessons from the past, we build a future where we don't make same kind of mistakes, or we know which approach is better. So to dismiss of past totally and say, oh, don't think about it, it's in the past, don't think about the future, which we don't. Oh, of course we don't know, but does that mean that we don't plan for the future? It should not be an extreme case where too much planning of the future stops you from living in the now. You don't need to get so anxious and worried about the future that you stop living and put yourself in a prison where you don't enjoy any of those moments. Moments are what create your life. Moments are those moments which never come back and which are in the moment. A conversation between two people, if they're very meaningful, is your highlight of the day. Unfortunately, we talk of spirituality, we talk of all the high moral ground kind of definitions, but we don't practice it. That's where the listening, truly listening, and listening to actually absorb and to do it is different. I always hear a lot of people who quote athletes. Can you tell me what is exactly which defines an athlete? Why are athletes quoted, and what is the success story behind athletes? In one word.
Winning.
Okay, that's a good one. But what I had in mind is consistency. Athletes are very consistent. They will get up at a certain appointed time and they will follow a schedule. It does not matter if there is a cheat day, a Saturday, or a Sunday. They are winning all the time because they follow a scheduled pattern all through their life, at least till the time they are performing and maybe beyond. But that becomes a way of life. When we talk of philosophers, what is a philosopher? Philosopher is also who practices his life according to the philosophy that each one has. That is what is a true philosopher's life journey. So, one thing is to talk, and one thing is to walk the talk. And I always like to have examples of how people walk the talk. If you focus on the actions, you'll not be fooled by the words. And I rest my case.
I think it's a very interesting conversation that when you share a point, for instance, for me, one of the things that I am working on trademarking right now, and it's actually in the paperwork. For those of you that hear this and go, "Oh, I'm going to steal that," go for it. You can use it. I give you permission to use it. But I am in the process of trademarking it, and that is the word intimacy. I believe that when we step into a place of being vulnerable and we're looking to create workability with that vulnerability, it allows us to learn intimate details about people's lives, their past, their current situation, and their love of the future, and their bucket list for the future. And there's a certain level of intimacy that starts to be created in that relationship with respect and trust and all of those pieces as well. And I share intimacy is the same as saying, into me you see. Intimacy, into me you see. And we can't have intimacy without letting people see into you. And I know this for the simple fact that I made my whole life, I've allowed people to come close, and they can get to about right here, so that, and Yes, of course, I would kiss them, right, if they were somebody I was dating, but
Like you would do to Remy.
but I would not let the intimacy get that much closer, and I would keep them separate. Like I would have this sheet of armor, and it wasn't until I learned what it is to let people in that there was just as much possibility of damage having the armor there as there was letting people in. And once I let go of my secrets, my journey that has created who I am, and I stopped living with regret, I stopped living with I'm not good enough, which is something, by the way, I still struggle with every day. Like going to the gym for me, I wake up in the morning and I take on that conversation of I'm not good enough. Great. Okay. God says I am. That's why I woke up today, and I have a mission and a purpose to fulfill while I'm here on life. And in that space, I'm living by my commitment and my stand for the planet, which is transforming the planet through communication. And one of the methods that I've chosen is to be vulnerable and share things that have happened to me, stories that I've heard with others that have given me permission to share in a very intimate way, in a way that says intimacy. You're going to see into me and see the impact of the journey that I have. And then allow people to get touched, moved, and inspired by that impact to the point where they look in the mirror and they find the pieces in the mirror that are similar. And they say to themselves, if I'm looking into me and seeing the same thing Coach Les just shared, what is that piece? And now, given that he's been able to develop a love of that past and turn that problem into an opportunity, that breakthrough into a brick and mortar space that he now lives inside of, how can I do the same thing? And in a conversation with a coach, in a conversation with a committed listener, in a conversation with an accountability partner, in a conversation with a friend, you can then create an environment for them to step into. And I say that's where the miracle is. That's where the miracle of allowing somebody to take what's coming out of a coach's mouth, to take what's coming out of the person that is speaking and putting it on like a coat and seeing how it fits and how it makes a difference. And if it doesn't fit, taking it off and setting it aside and trying on a different one. To me, all of that is part of the experience, that if we could do it one step at a time, rather than giving me 15 principles in 2.5 minutes to tell me that you're educated, that you've read lots of books, that you've gone to lots of seminars, that you've written books, that you've regurgitated in your own words all of the knowledge that exists out in the universe, which now just gives me another way to read it. I've got a library of books where if I were to be able to feed them into an artificial intelligence and say, find the common ground, every single book would have a common theme. Now, I applaud people for creating that space, for creating, like I applaud you, Sujata, for creating a story that lets people step into it and find comfort in their own breakdowns and seeing how you dealt with them, that they can now deal with them in that way. Once again, you've allowed people to see into you, into me you see. You've allowed people to step intimately into your world, intimately into Lightning's world and Lotus's world. and Conscience's world and Mr. Tiwari's world to see what is available for creating that bond of a family that sticks together and has breakdowns and breakthroughs and stuff that sometimes we may not like each other for a week or a month or 2 months. And yet there's still that foundation of love that comes from the commitment of being together in a family. Now I feel
sorry for interrupting, Coach. 1 minute. One important call. I'll be back. Please, you continue.
Excellent. We look forward to you coming back, Arise.
Yeah.
And welcome, Kavendra. Come on up if you'd like to come on up. And I'd love to hear, Sujata, what are you getting out of this conversation? What would you like to share with us up to this point?
So I lost my train of thoughts. However, I would like to start with, in a library, if you imagine a huge big library, there are books and books and books, stories and stories and stories, and authors and authors. You don't read all the books. And the books that you read, you either resonate with, learn from it, find something of value, or you don't. So, what we can do in our, like if you talk of intimacy, we can be ourselves, we can share our stories, we can share our breakthroughs, our triumphs, our, learning experiences. It's for the discerning reader to decide what they take from it. And every person can have a different piece of perspective to take from it. At least in my book, there's so many points covered, and they're all real life experiences. So everybody can see a similar thread and can also see something which they can take away from it, a fresh perspective of looking at things. That's the way I see it. What do you think?
Well, my question to you is, what do you see is available for people?
It depends on what people want. You see, it's not a question of what is available. Everything is available. It's what is the person seeking? And that is what, if you are seeking something, you will resonate with the certain kind of a book or a story or a coach or a speaker. You might have an audience of hundreds of people in a room, but not everybody is going to have the same perspective or the same learning or even the same kind of, listening appreciation. That's why you also see that in a room, when we create rooms, if you have noticed, at least I noticed, because when I'm silent, a lot of people have told me I'm very silent. But you see, when I'm silent, I'm observing all the time. People come in and people go. And they can come and go for multiple reasons. They genuinely may have something pressing to attend to. Some people are hopping in between rooms and then they stay in the room which they resonate with. Some people are pinged into different rooms at the same time. Who do you go to? Again, you will have to make a choice of who do you want to go and listen to, right? So those are the aspects when we are listening as to why we are listening. So the listening can have different connotations and can have different perspectives, but the person who's speaking has a accountability and a responsibility of not only being a marketer and just selling your wares, your products, or your services. You have to touch the listener's heart even if it's a small measure, but you need to do that if you really want to build a relationship. And relationships are always built on that bond, no matter how you put it, which words you use it. But I stick to my perspective that if you want to create a bond or a relationship, you have to have a meeting of minds, if
And you
not of
can't, and you can't do it like a drive-by car throwing out a rope.
no, you can't do it like a salesman. Okay, if you're a salesman, then you're not a spiritual or philosopher at heart.
Yeah.
So you might be a very good salesman and you will do the number games brilliantly. but there will always be that connect missing. Once you have left your position and job, see how many of your clients or people actually come back or remember you. It happens not only in sales, it happens in bureaucratic services or government services. When they retire, they have nothing to look forward to. They age very rapidly, they become very lonely because they've never done any kind of self development, never pursued any kind of hobby. They just work according to the designations that they held.
Well, and their work is very surface level,
Yes,
right? So
it's not with passion.
they follow a checklist.
Yes, that's what you're told to do,
Yeah.
right?
And you go through, and there are many coaches, they go through and get these certifications.
Exactly.
And you know, and I know this, I'm stereotyping. So I admit that I'm going to stereotype right now. There are coaching organizations out there. Action Coach, Traction Coach, E-Myth Coach, that have a series of 3-ring binders that when you purchase, you get a 3-ring binder that is about 2.5 to 3 inches thick. And it goes step by step, number by number. Ask these questions, get this response, move to this next question. So on and so on and so on and so on. And I listen to this and I go, and I've watched this and I've learned this. I've looked at it. I've gone through this process with several people. And I look at this process and I go, how does this work for people? People are not cookie cutter. And when they become cookie cutter, they don't have breakthroughs. They have Band-Aids. And as soon as the coaching is over, the Band-Aid gets old. And what happens when the Band-Aid falls off? The wound is still there. It hasn't been healed inside out because somebody put a Band-Aid on it. And they went, oh, this is great. I can work. I can do everything I was doing. And it's a Band-Aid. And yet underneath, it's not resolved. And I look at this and it is my passion and it is my commitment and it is my mission to take those coaches when I meet them and see them and say, there's another level. Are you interested? If you are, here's what I can show you. And I'm not going to charge you $30,000 or $20,000 to make that space available. I'm going to look and see what is it for you that would give you the tools to go the next level in your conversations with the people that you work with. That's providing value. That's looking at leveling somebody up with a tool that allows them to customize how they use it, rather than here's a tool, use it this way, and they will get a breakthrough. And my question always is, does that breakthrough last? Does it have stick-to-itiveness? A made-up word.
I gathered that. And you had one interesting and very valid point earlier, which you said about education. True education is not about degrees and certificates. I will not go into statistics, but there are well known um, people who have made it without having college degrees. Now, just because they've become very wealthy and they've amassed a fortune, so nobody, highlights that. But for most people, that piece of certificate or a degree has a lot of meaning rather than real life practical experiences, which is not there in any textbook theory or, in your degrees and certificates. That's not true education or knowledge. When life altering moments happen, those degrees and certificates don't come in use. Your strength, your courage, your wisdom, your character is what comes to your rescue. and not the books in the library.
And I think that's also the place where you bond with that individual.
Yeah.
You create a level of communication with that person that allows you to come shoulder to shoulder with that individual as they journey through their poop. And at the moment that you can see that they are self-sufficient and they are moving and discerning the poop and walking through it, that you then just step aside as a coach and they carry all of your coaching with them, creating and causing the breakthroughs in their life. And then they reach out if they have a breakdown and are looking for a little bit of coaching to support them with the next breakthrough. So often it looks like people are going, here, did you do steps 1 through 10? Well, yeah, a month ago, and I'm still dealing with this situation. Well, excellent. That means that you haven't got to the source of it. You've done 1 through 10 and you got an A on your paper and you have no idea what you wrote. Anyway, I see that Kavendra's in the house. I see Scott's in the house. Are you ready to open it up and let some people come and join in the conversation, Sujata?
I have always been open. You have been open. It's for people to come in and join.
All right. Well, Kavendra, good evening, good morning, good day. How are you?
Good morning, good evening. I'm well, Coach. A very good morning to everyone here. I enjoyed the conversation that you just had because of the interesting points raised is that education, like I always say that my mom, who's never been educated, is actually much more knowledgeable than all the books that I've read in the self-development. I just go to mom and ask her a question, and you'll be so surprised that the information that she shares is about experience and about knowledge. And it's knowledge beyond what you could learn in a campus or school and so forth. And like Sujata pointed out, that I'll be an example, all right? My parents couldn't afford to send me to swim, all right? And I loved the pool, and I always admired people that were swimmers. So I used to go to the public pool and watch other people because I couldn't swim, so I couldn't go into the water. And when I look at life, I look at life in that way as well. It's a question on whether you want to you want something badly enough, you will learn it. So her mom never taught her to cook, but my mom is like the best cook. And it's not because I'm her child, and she's the best cook amongst 10 siblings, because she chose to learn, or she learned to experience and experiment life. And she's my biggest role model and my biggest teacher of life, because the essence of her care and her love and her devotion for her children and the upkeep of our well-being has always been the forefront of her purpose and what she wanted. And she always said to us, don't go and preach about what you have. Go to listen, to seek, to understand something. Always go with an open mind, in a way that you don't just come back saying, oh, this is what the person said. You come back saying, I learned something, but on a level that I actually can improve myself. And we all have cracks that we would like to fill, or parts of us that we would like to polish. And we always look at the mirror and we sometimes see ourselves as lesser based on maybe the title. Or as Sujata pointed out, I like the fact that because I'm a financial planner, Sujata pointed out that if you reach retirement and you just do a medical aid, you just do a mediocre job or function, that you soon decline because you haven't really understood. So you could be given a complete body, complete mind, but if you don't use it and you don't grow to love yourself, and I think this is where I strongly believe in learning about yourself more than just learning for the sake of learning. So I think that people decline very easily because they either have been molded into believing that this is their function, And I use the mold quite often as an illustration because I believe that I was molded. I went to a function a few years ago and this lady came to me, which is my aunt actually, but she said to me, "Oh, I didn't expect you to be where you are today because you never showed any interest or anything." And I looked at her and I smiled because my reaction is never to be rude to anyone. So I said to her, "Thank you for telling me that because it's quite a nice thought. Because if I perceived it as a negative, I wouldn't learn that sometimes people don't grow out of their own choice. People get into a comfort zone, coach. They stay there because they feel comfortable. They get molded into what they should be and they stay there because that's all they are. All right. But when you look at a person like me that never had anything given to him, everything was like, you have to work for it. And my working was saying, open my mind, listen to people around me, understand. And that is my quest for knowledge. But I learned a lot more from just life experience than just the medium. Like I did my degree and I did it because I wanted to learn more. And when I did it, I noticed the people that did all the massive distinctions or got all the best accolades, they are not really doing much. They did it for the sake of saying, I have something or I want to be received in a certain way. Because in South Africa, the mindset around college degrees is the come with it. But your prosperity has already began with you and not become of who you are. It's about where you stand out and who you see in yourself. And, it took me a while because, in the condition of society that I live in, Indian society, because I'm Indian descent, tells you that you have to study and you are benchmarked against other people. And the people that I grew up with, the richest in my class that I finished matric with or grade 12 or whatever they call it elsewhere, those people that actually just kind of like figured life out, they are more successful than all of us that have those degrees and qualifications, etc. So, the holistic approach is, when you choose to study and you choose to apply what you study, like I'm the worst studying child ever. If I'm in the class as a student, I'm asking questions. Sometimes the lecturer looks at me and says, "Can you shut up?" I said, "No, I'm here to learn. So I want to understand because the things that I'm doing, I now find words to describe what exactly I've been doing all my life." And this is what you're doing. You're straightening what I didn't understand of myself, but now you're giving it a title or word. Did it make me better? No, it made me the worst student. But when I graduated, I was the most knowledgeable because everything I did, I applied to my life. And I used ways of improving, growing, celebrating, but most importantly, loving myself because I never really cared or took the time to appreciate myself. When I finished work, sometime when I did mediocre jobs, I finished work, I just slept 8 and I woke up the next day and I repeated it. These days, I'm more about self-care. I'm aware of it. I'm about social involvement, about developing myself in a way that I don't just have a job. I have a lifestyle that I'm living. And I've incorporated that lifestyle, and that's how I live each day. And just to give you the final of what happened in the swimming, I became the best swimmer in that particular grade that I was in. And I was self-taught because I loved water. And I went to the library, and yes, I studied a book, which wasn't much because the books back then was Encyclopedia Britannica, and the library book just had 1 or 2 books on swimming. It wasn't a huge kaleidoscope of ideologies, but by observing others, applying things, I got to the top because I loved the water, and I became a teacher of that same skill to those, and that's how I started my first little job of becoming a coach to others, and I was coaching swimming without actually having been coached myself. So leadership, your leadership in your personal development is you commanding your life. Yes, people come, people go in terms of these rooms and options, but ultimately you go out for the sake of loving yourself, living the life you want to lead, and most importantly, being humble enough to help those in need. I'm Kavendra, and I'm complete for now. Thank you, Coach.
I want to say something. So, Govindra, I really like to share because you just summed up what I say half the time. And that is to start with, leadership is not about designations, it's about actions. At every step from what you shared, you took actions. And it right from learning and self-developing when you didn't have anything. That is what is leadership is all about, not about the designations given to us by society. And being self-taught and then teaching others is the best education or educated person that can be holistically. Our education system is very flawed, and you have summed it up correctly. And those who get good degrees and all, actually in real life sometimes they're very mediocre in how they live, how they operate, and their lives might just go past without any significance.
Yeah, I think one of the things to pivot on that as well is you look at people that have no degrees, that did not even finish high school. And I know this, as soon as I say this person's name, there'll be a bunch of people that on the replay will shudder and go, ooh. And yet, when you look at what he has contributed to the world, and he has honorary degrees, honorary PhDs from Harvard, due to the fact that these schools have given him honorary degrees. Why? Because they want the notoriety that that person carries around to be able to sell and pitch their education and their PhD to the next person. So they give an honorary degree to somebody that's done it on their own in hopes of, quote unquote, gaining the marketing. And people go, wow. And it's like they're completely self-serving in doing that because they want the marketing that comes with that. And, that person is Bill Gates. And a lot of people shudder when you say that name. A lot of people go, oh, really? And yet, he has single-handedly contributed more to this world, in the world of computers and software development, than any other human being. When you look at it by global spread and impact. Now, yes, people judge and assess him. People say that he's a horrible man. He's done horrible things. He's, the big bad wolf because he's bought this company and bought that company and done this and done that and stolen this and stolen that. I only know one perfect human being to this point that I can, speak about, and that is due to my faith. That's Christ. And I know that there's a few prophets that are out there that I would put into that same genre. And yet they're still all human beings. And we know that they've done human things. I remember having an argument with somebody. I said, did Christ ever get mad? And they're like, oh, no, he never got mad. He was never angry. He was never. I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you not remember when he went into the temple? Oh, yeah. Well, that was, I'm like, stop. Don't even go another step further in your conversation to justify saying that he never got angry. And this is the trouble with people that have tunnel vision. What is the way that we can live in a way that opens people's vision up and not have it be tunnel vision, especially when the tunnel is created by the society, the marketers, the bureaucrats, the dollars and cents people out there that are, you need to do this. Why? Because one of the largest landowners in the world has a restaurant that you need to feed the food to your kids. Why? Because every time they go to school and every commercial they see, They hear about Ronald McDonald and they hear about French fries. And then people go, well, so is McDonald's in the business of food? Or this is the question. And I will tell you, McDonald's is in the business of real estate. And that surprises many people.
Because you only see what you're, guided to see. And what you just see with limited vision of what's in front, not in depth into the matter.
Yeah. Scott, how are you this evening?
Doing well. How are you?
Better than phenomenal. Would you like to weigh in on this conversation?
Oh, do I ever?
Okay, hold on a second. Let me grab my cup of coffee, put my feet up. All right, you got the mic.
Get comfortable. I've been thinking, so I'm outside shoveling the walk, so I'm taking a break here. But everything that I've known about the world is wrong, and I think that's true for a lot of people, especially when it came to finances. Finances for me, I thought I had it all figured out. I thought I had the right mindset. And then as I talk to people who are in a better place financially than I am, I'm realizing that everything I know is wrong. And it's based off of my mom's belief. And at first I was like, well, how could she believe that to start? And everything that she was told was from her parents. So there's nothing to say that everything that they knew was right either, because obviously they're not financially well off as to where I want to be. And so it's this ongoing path of generational experience, which I find us in this position right now, like with an app like Clubhouse, with YouTube, social media, the internet in general, where information has never been more accessible than what it is now. People are giving away webinars for free when even probably 10 years ago they would have charged $10,000 a ticket, because you can go online and somebody's probably streamed it somewhere and now they're giving it away for free anyway. Where I'm going with this is I truly believe what Robert Kiyosaki says is that the school system is set up for us to be employees. It is set up for us to just be mindless machines that just go in, do the job, go home. Because that's what it was way back in the day. Now I'm not quite 40. I'm almost there, and I'm holding on to the 30s with every part of my being. But what I'm saying is that even growing up, going to school in the 80s and 90s, we had a certain way of doing things. I remember many times my teacher would say, stop fantasizing, stop daydreaming, which is really another way of saying stop using your imagination. But if you look at any book, and the one that I jump to most of all is Think and Grow Rich. It actually has a chapter on imagination. Albert Einstein said that imagination is the preview to life's coming attractions. And this is somebody who everybody in the world at that time thought was crazy. So it's been very humbling for me to realize that everything I know is wrong. And I think if more people thought that way, they'd be more open and willing to hear other people's opinions, other people's point of views, and hopefully take something out of it that's actually going to help them move forward. Now, the last thing I'll mention is, and I think Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book on this, and I think it's called, I'm yet to actually listen to it or read it, but it's called Why A Students Work for C Students, which I find to be a very interesting title because it kind of goes off what he says in Rich Dad Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, and a couple other ones where school, I'm going to go back to school, teaches us that it's wrong to make mistakes. But I think anybody in this room currently or watching the replay would agree that it's the mistakes that actually teach us the lesson. But in school, we actually fail a test if we make too many mistakes. It's completely backwards than to what is successful in life. So when I hear about the school system, I shudder because I know my kids are growing up in the same era that I'm growing up in, technically, when it comes to the way the school system is run. And it drives me nuts that I haven't thought of a way to get around that so that they can actually think for themselves, knowing now what I know now. Anyway, I will leave it there. I'd love to hear your opinion on that. And I will pass the mic back. Thank you for letting me chime in.
You are very welcome. Thank you. And I appreciate, and by the way, hello to those couple people that just popped in and are here. Crystal, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Also to Anirudh, nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Hadassah, great to see you. And I'm going to actually just pass the microphone over to Hadassah. And since we've got a few people on stage here in Clubhouse, I'd love to continue to hear from them. I think we've listened to me long enough, and we still got to get more out of Sujata. But let's pass the mic to Hadassah. How are you, Hadassah?
I am well. How are you?
Better than phenomenal. Loving doing this.
Loving what, sir?
I love contributing like this and making a difference in the world.
Oh, awesome. Well, I've never actually, if I've been in this room, this is only like maybe my second time, so I don't really know what you all do in this room.
All we're doing is having a conversation currently about what leadership is about, what is intimacy, what is communication, how does it occur, and the conversation in these pieces. As a coach, are we authentic or are we surface level? Do we go deep with intimate conversation and make a difference with people? How do we do that, and how do we maintain it if we're communicating with someone? Or is it all surface level? Is it all fake? Is it all what I call data, teaching, instructing, and never really sinking in and allowing somebody to own it and move forward with it?
Well, thank you for explaining that to me. I am not a coach, unless you consider coaching my children or something for life, or, about life. But I think that, and that's a good topic, that I think that it may actually depend on your audience or who it is you're coaching, because I'm a person who's a straight shooter. I'm a person who I like to go into the epidermal layers. I don't like to be, I used to be surface. I used to be, superficial and all that, talking about superficial things and surface. However, as the Lord has brought me through life, He has taught me to be more raw, more authentic, and like I said, to go beneath the epidermal layers. And since there is, different layers, your audience really are going to determine how deep you can go, because not everybody can take the truth. Not everybody can handle it. I tend to find out that when I start speaking the truth to people, most of them cannot handle it. And so I generally try to keep my mouth closed, especially when it comes, I keep certain things about the Lord, because that's who I speak about all the time. That's who I work for. So I keep certain things about Him closed, and I'll be surface level with it still. and tell them the general basics, and maybe my a little bit brief of my testimony. But when I come across those that can handle it, then that's when I start to go beneath the layers and get into the epidermal layers. But the majority of the people, and that's part of the reason why we have such a crisis in the world, is because people don't want to confront themselves. And Jesus is all about confrontation. And he confronts each and every last one of us about our wrongs. And it's hard. I think, was it Sujata, I think it was, or someone who said that, it's hard. Or maybe it was the previous room I was in. They was talking about how hard it is to really kind of face yourself and confront yourself and look in the mirror. And the Bible is the mirror. So I really believe that it's really determined on your audience. And but unfortunately, the majority of the people are superficial. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just people are afraid to go deep. People are very get easily offended in this day and age, and they cannot handle the truth. Coach, and many of us up here on the stage back in our day and age, we dealt with some things that the new generation, I see that they have a hard time handling it. They can't handle a lot of mental things, and they can't handle a lot of when like somebody talks about you behind your back. Like they can't handle it as well as we could have in the past, or as well as maybe even our parents could have in the past. They just can't do it. So leadership is very challenging. You cannot be a people pleaser. You could try to serve and please certain people, like maybe your family members, but even with them, that can get out of hand. The best person you can try to please is the Lord himself. And I'm still learning that myself as well, because I was a people pleaser. And when you start becoming a people pleaser, that's an issue in your leader. And then when they get used to you people pleasing, once again, you can't sit down and have hard conversations with people who are easily offended and are afraid to go deep. So I try to surround, in this day and age, those who I want close to me are people who are not afraid to go skin deep. Those who are afraid to go skin deep, I would rather keep them at a distance and just, still be friends with them and everything from a distance, or associates with them from a distance. But that's how I feel like it is with leadership. It's challenging. There's a lot of pressure, and people want to down leaders so much, but they don't understand what it takes to be a leader. And everybody's human, and we all fall, and we really don't have the right to judge anyone. And I just feel like we should, as God says, we have to all learn to give each other grace. But since the Lord is in this last day and age, he's shaking everything up. Eventually, those who are smart, spiritually smart, they're going to learn to stop judging people and start to give people grace. But those who are a little bit more, have a little bit more of the world in them, and don't really know that much about God, they may continue down that same path. But that's the way I feel about it. And I yield the mic.
Woo. Amen. Go ahead, Sujata.
Okay, I have a comment for Scott first. Scott, have you ever thought of homeschooling your children? Okay, maybe he's not there. And
hey, Scott Koenig, are you still there? I might have stepped away from the mic.
okay. And secondly, Hadassah, what I would like to tell you is, or rather suggest is, after hearing your share, is just be yourself. Let not others define us or our actions. We define who we are. And if we have certain ingredients of compassion, kindness, integrity, then I think we shouldn't bother about people's perception or how to please people, or conform to society standards. We should just be ourselves. That's what I'd like to share.
And Sujata, thank you for that. And I agree with you about being authentic. The Lord has actually told me the same thing, to be authentic and just be me. However, my main concern is not so much about offending people, as it is offending God, because he was careful with the way he chose his words, but he still offended people, and he had to deal with a lot of pressure too. And you're right. He, when it comes to like the Pharisees and the Sadducees, he sometimes intentionally offended them. So you're right about being authentic, but my main concern is really about offending the Lord more than anybody. But yes, I am definitely going to take your advice and continue to be my authentic self. Thank you.
Scott left. Maybe he had a bad connection.
I hope my question did not offend him.
No, he's got a tough skin. He has a tough skin, so you're okay. I'm just inviting a couple of people here into the room. Lightning, do you want to come up and share? All right, Sujata, what next?
You tell me, we are in a silent Zen mode.
You must have your phone on. I can hear the reverb.
Yes.
Turn the volume off, young lady. And it won't do that. Not the volume on the stream yet. Oh my, because then we don't hear you at all. There we go.
No, volume is on here. I've not done anything. I just put my phone on silent mode and plus volume at lowest.
There you go. Well, I think I think the next thing for us to touch on inside of this would be to look at how do we create a conversation for change in this arena. Oh, Kavendra's gone. Maybe he'll be back. I think it's
what we should talk about, and this is exactly what I want to say. And since we are in a safe space, or no space, it's our space. Let's put it this way. We can say anything, okay?
yes.
You just see in Clubhouse, you see those huge mega rooms with 200, 300 people. What is it that you gain out of it? What exactly happens there? It's like a stage set, and you have the numbers according to the people on stage, and you have a lot of people in the audience. Why do they go there? They go there because of the numbers. Otherwise, we should be having a lot of testimonials from those people who go into the listening lounge, add to the stage number. The room has a number, 200 people, 300 people, right? So what do they do? What do they take away from listening is what I want to know. How did it impact your life today? And if you come to our room, you can see the stage is so small, and we are not in the numbers game. It's good that you leave the replays on. So if somebody genuinely wants to learn from our wisdom, which we are giving time to, they will come and listen. If not, we speak on multiple levels. I can go for a walk with you when you walk the dogs, and I can speak, or we can also speak in this room and still impart our wisdom, right? So if there are people who want to listen, they come and listen. If they don't, And that's another reason why I keep silent. Because if you can't hear my silence, you won't understand my words. That's my quote.
Yeah, I think. Hi, Shruti. Hey, Jeanette. How are you, Jeanette?
So happy to see you.
I was listening on another platform.
Oh, I sent you an invite to come right to StreamYard in your email, so you can jump in. I sent it to Jeremy as well.
Oh my goodness. I did not see that.
I sent it to your Gmail account.
Okay, yeah. I have been off the email. I'm trying to get a whole bunch of stuff done before next week. And yeah, so I didn't look at my email. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries.
But at least I'm Clubhouse.
We are happy to have you.
Oh, definitely.
I love sharing the space with you.
What have you been gleaning from our conversation so far?
Well, I was listening to Sujata talk about the numbers. What is the purpose? A lot of people are listening, but everything has to be fact checked. Unless you have real data, it's really hard to go into those rooms and share anything. Most of the people are listening below, and one of the things we always teach people is to, when there's conflict, we have a source. We have a list of good sources, not just the news channels. So, yeah. So I was thinking about that. What Sujata was mentioning, and what other things can you bring me up to speed on?
Well, I spoke about intimacy. That was a fun one. We have also spoken about what is it to go into some of these rooms, to go in and listen to coaches that are speaking on stage, that are sharing all of this crazy, wild stuff. And, they are literally, spewing out data from books over and 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 over. And they say it so fast that I don't even know if people actually are able to use it, to get it, as opposed to sharing one philosophy, sharing one thing, and then spending time with that one particular point of view and having it resonate with people so that they can actually use it in their life, or they can actually see how it works.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
I agree. Yeah. It's as if they need to get the data out, and that's supposed to give them credibility. Because I taught at university, one of the things in communication they teach you, is to create your bullet of what you're going to speak about, and add examples, add sources that validate what you're saying. But many people, it's like they want to speak. They want to have that word, and they want people to give them the credibility because they said it. And that's how I look at it sometimes. And it goes past what we're taught in communication. Even, when you're going through school and you're learning how to form your logic and your arguments, to put it down, and you find things that validate what you're saying. And you don't just say it, just spew out all kinds of data to make it sound like that validates what you're saying. Does that make sense?
Absolute sense. You always make sense, Janet.
Thank you, Sujata. That's why, we want to have these conversations.
Exactly. And I was just telling Coach Les before you popped in because people came and they just disappeared. So I was saying that, look, if we have to have conversations, we can do it privately amongst ourselves. And when we offer it on a platform where we offer our wisdom collectively, it's for the discerning people who come in and who can, learn something really meaningful or at least apply it to their lives. At, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not some textbook theory expert, but on life matters, I do have some experience which I can add value to or, can share with people.
Exactly. Exactly. And you at least have, you're not giving, just processing and speaking all this data.
Yes, I'm not a marketeer trying to sell something, right?
Yes, you're not this content salesperson. I don't know any other word to use that just talks. You want to have something that's valid. You want something that can be validated. You want something that can be fact checked, and that's what we want to give us credibility.
Yeah. It's like, you walk the talk, or if you preach something, then you should be able to, give examples of how you yourself applied it, or there is a real solution. It's not like something that you prescribe in a book or something. There's so much knowledge out there. If one wanted to learn all those things, that you can go and learn almost on any and every topic.
Well, that's one of the things is everybody wants, they used to use the term jack of all trade, but master of none.
Yes.
Right? And it seems to have turned that way in the communication sense as well. One of the things that came to mind was, was reality TV. How much, when you look at the number of people that watch reality TV, how much of their communication is affected by that reality TV?
A lot.
Mm-hmm. It's significant, isn't it? Because when Coach, because you're a coach on integrity and communication, and when they start spewing out data, getting them to where they self-correct themselves, self-evaluate takes time, right?
Yep.
It's hard to break them from that behavior. And nobody's told them that that's the behavior they had. Or maybe they did and they didn't want to believe it, because if they do it on TV, reality TV, why is it wrong that they do it? They either self-correct or they make excuses. Is that right?
Well, of course. Or they ghost you.
Or they, yeah. They ghost you? Oh, yes. And of course, there's cases in that where you try to be tactful because I know you, Coach, you give a lot of free stuff away. And you try to give them the free advice. Hey, would you like some coaching to where, you're relating to them? And they say, oh, sure. And then they ghost you. And then they tell someone else, well, people criticize me the way I talk. They don't want to admit that people are walking away from them. They're not walking towards them. And if they paid attention to people walking away, they're going to ask themselves, why are they walking away when I speak? And they'll ask for help. Maybe that's the key. They don't want to be offered help. They want to figure it out on their own. And that could happen. Absolutely. So that's where communications, I think the reality TV, the drama, the excitedness, over exaggeration, because everybody wants to be entertaining when they talk. They want to be interesting, I guess. That's all behavior. That's instant gratification. You can even have instant gratification in your communication. You want people to instantly laugh at you, laugh with you. You want to entertain them. So I guess you could call it instant gratification of communication. That's what reality TV has created.
That's the main key word, entertainment.
Well, I don't find it entertaining. I really appreciate really intelligent, good conversation. I really appreciate it.
And that's because, Janet, you're one of the discerning ones. You're not in the box. You think out of the box.
Well, we're always taught not to live in the box. We're taught to think outside the box. We're told that continually.
No, that's not true for most people. Most people are taught to be in the box. Some of us actually choose to not be in the box.
Well, I choose not to be in the box.
That's why we resonate with each other. Now you see?
Yes.
Amen.
And we're from different countries.
And that's the point. It doesn't matter. Geographical borders don't matter. In the end, human beings are the same, in more or less. If you take out of context the cultures and norms and all which we are conditioned to believe or operate in. But on a basic core level, we are all human beings with same kind of mindsets, emotions, feelings, and how we process them, don't process them.
Yes, and when we communicate, we're present.
Yes.
We're paying attention to each other. We're respecting our each other's space and boundaries. We're not questioning each other, and it's very common when someone is crossing the border, you say, I don't want to do that. And well, why? And they give you this diatribe to get around why you didn't want to do it. And you just say, I don't want to do it. There's no explanation. I don't need to offer. And that's not good enough for them. They want drama. They want, they want to pull drama out of you. And a lot of times in my communities, that's how they are.
Well, I think what I'm going to do is expand the conversation and pass the mic to Sabrina. Hi, Sabrina. It's great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening. Good night. Good day. Would you like to weigh in on this conversation?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. I came in kind of late.
All right.
Can you repeat the topic, Coach?
Definitely can. This time I'm going to let Sujata repeat it, though, because she always leaves it to me. Now look at her. She's waving. No, don't let me do it. Come on, Sujata. Oh, my goodness.
Deal with you later, Coach Les.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have my moment.
Well, just FYI, we are currently speaking about we're live on a podcast on StreamYard, and we're about to bring Joey and Dee Medrano into the conversation, and I'll mute them so that they don't suddenly have to talk, but they can come and they can show their picture if they want or not. And we're here on Clubhouse. So currently we're on 9 different social media platforms, Sabrina, and we're having a fun conversation about communication, integrity, and and it started based on our podcast last week, and on Wednesday this week, we talked about respect and how respect. She's so funny. She's like giving me leads in the video. It's awesome. Oh, I love this. This is so funny. Jeanette, I wish you could be here on StreamYard to see this. It's hilarious.
She does a sign language. That's awesome. She's a communicator. She can communicate on all levels. That's wonderful.
It's so funny because I think she forgets that she's on Facebook Live.
No. I would like to say I do not forget. I'm very much aware that I am live, but I am also going to be myself. So if I wish to do sign language with you and not put you in a spot, that's what I'm going to do.
So on Wednesdays, she and I have a podcast, and the podcast is about Against All Odds, no retakes, no manuals, no real life lessons. It's the book that Sujato wrote. And we were having so much fun doing it. And I had come to a pausing point in my Ziegler Legacy room. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to bring this podcast with Sujata, and I'm going to share it. I'm going to grow it, and I'm going to bring it to the Ziegler Legacy Room on Friday nights, because I think it will be a ton of fun. And we'll bring more people up on the StreamYard, and then we'll bring people up on the stage on Clubhouse. And if you saw my really high-tech way of communicating with Clubhouse, it's the speakers are turned up, and there's a big, massive Blue Yeti microphone next to the speakers of my cell phone that pick up the people on Clubhouse speaking and then feed it out to the podcast. And the conversation tonight started because both Sujata and I were in a room where somebody was sharing, and they were sharing about all these different points of information from all these different coaches, and standing up on stage and sharing all these points. And yet it was like looking at the surface of a lake, having no idea what's in the water, except they did a beautiful job of sharing all the points on the surface of the lake. And they're doing it at such a speed that if you're listening and you're like, oh, let me capture these points, you can't capture them because they're too fast. And there's no depth to the conversation. So Sujata and I were talking as I was walking around the field, and I finally had to get out of the room because I was like, I can't do this. I cannot listen to somebody throw 15 conversation topics out into the universe and not speak about one of them and how it impacts them, and then give us a bunch of stories that come out at 100 miles an hour, and there's no emotional bandwidth that slows the person down so we can get present to the intimacy of the share and the difference that share makes in people's lives, and slow it down, allowing people to get present to their thoughts about the share, their thoughts about how it impacts them, their thoughts about how could this make a difference in my life and the lives of the people around me, which for me is the true essence of coaching. See, many of you have seen, and I will, for those of you on Clubhouse, I will change my profile picture so that you can see what I'm talking about, because I have a profile picture set up in my favorites so that I can speak about this. And I laughingly talk about the opportunity of, and I'm trying to see, I can't fit it all, the picture all in, but if you take a look on PTR, you'll see that I have this picture that shows the circles of information. And the circles of information and what they are is where we start with data, which is like going to the library and finding all this data. Then we go from the data to a teacher. And I'm stereotyping, so for those of you that might be a teacher, please don't take offense to this. I'm sharing in a way that my goal is to have the conversation be about leveling a lot of people up when there are a lot of people that haven't done this work. And I'm holding up a picture so that those people on social media can also see it. The teaching could be like a professor where they teach data. They get up, they do a lesson plan. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They trust that everybody in the room learns what it is they're teaching. Occasionally, some may come up and ask a question afterwards. Some may even come to an office. Professors, they may even have office hours where they have teachers' aides. Then there's instructors that go step by step. A little bit like chemistry. When you go into chemistry and you go into chemistry class and they say, take this beaker, pour 2 drops of this, do this, do this, do this. And now do you see the result? Now let's talk about the result after having been instructed how to create it. And you learn step by step. Then as we go closer into the center of this circle, we get to guide. In the center of this circle is a guide and a mentor, where they come alongside you and they guide you and they may step in and support you. And then in the very center is a coach. In the center is the coach whose objective is to be all of the things: a data, a teacher, an instructor, a guide, a mentor, a step-by-step, a professor, a library, and create the space of I do, we do, you do, where the client, the person that is getting the coaching, suddenly hits the bullseye and takes ownership and goes off and can sometimes blow way past the coach's expectation, the coach, the teacher, the instructor, and they watch them soar due to the great coaching that has them level up. Now, that being said, how many people coach that way? It's pretty scary, as Sujata raises her eyebrows. It's not a lot of people that actually do that type of work. It takes a lot. It takes the coach being vulnerable. It takes the coach being respectful, allowing the client to see the intimate details. Into me you see, we spoke about, of what that person is dealing with, what is available. And from this space, I believe that there is an opportunity for this room, for us to share, for Sujata to share from her experiences, coming from writing this book, Against All Odds, no retakes, no manuals, real life lessons. Sujata has accumulated a wealth of experience during her life, leading to insights and knowledge that cannot be coached or taught in a class. She has been a mother, a wife, a journalist, a consultant, an activist, a leader, and a businesswoman domestically and internationally. In sharing her story and being the deliverer and being my co-host, Sujata strives to provide people coming to visit on Clubhouse and here on the social media forums, people of all backgrounds in any part of the world with real life examples on how to deal with the unpredictable nature of everyday life. And her book is what started this relationship. And here we are, creating the next level on Friday nights.
I love that, Coach.
Thanks, Sabrina. Did I do a good job of bringing you up to speed?
You did an amazing job. You even provided us with a visual. So thank you very much. I just, I love the whole idea of Sujata being dedicated in the work that she does. And oftentimes, as a coach, an author, and all of the, responsibilities that we take on to kind of help reach out and help other people, sometimes you have to tell a story, and that part can be challenging because oftentimes it's a story, of passion. Sometimes you don't necessarily want to, share some of those experiences. But when you do, you find out that so many others have, the same or are struggling with the same issues.
Exactly. Now you see why I wanted Coach Les to do the bringing up to speed and introduction, because he does it better than me. So when a colleague or a partner does it better than me, shouldn't the person be allowed to do that? Do the honors. And that's why I was telling him to do it. And he's done it as usual, again with grace. And there are other people now in StreamYard and in the Clubhouse, as you can see. Oh, Lotus again came and went, but Sabrina is there, Dinesh is there.
He's on the phone. He's on the phone right now.
Yeah.
Sherilyn.
There. And then Joey is here.
Hi, Joey.
Hey guys, how are you? Good to see you. Good. I can now say good to see you.
There you go.
And we have Workout Diva and Armac also.
Yep. We have Rhonda. Hi, Rhonda. She's listening.
Hello. How are you guys doing tonight?
Phenomenal. You came off. I was just about to say, who's here just listening, and you came off. I saw the mic go off, and I'm like, she's going to talk. Rhonda is a dear, dear friend who is from Alabama, who has one of the most pleasant voices that you get to listen to, that just makes you like enjoy listening to accents. Right, Rhonda?
I reckon. I don't. You always embarrass me, but thank you. Yes, thank you.
And then there's the workout diva, who is also known as Dee Medrano. Hi, Dee.
Dee.
Uh-oh.
I don't understand how this thing works.
You're doing great. All we need is a picture.
I don't know how to do that.
Are you on you're on your computer though, right?
No, I'm not.
Oh, what are you on?
I was about to go to bed when you sent me that text.
Oh.
It's late, Coach Les.
I
over
know
here.
it is. Well,
so I was about to go to sleep. So no, I'm not on my computer.
Well,
and I'm just getting to know this app.
All right. Well, we'll have to have a meeting to. Whoop.
Yes.
Uh-oh. Where did Rhonda vanished? Uh-oh. We'll have to figure out how to have it all work and give you an opportunity, because Dee has 4 published books. I thought she only had 1. So there we go. I'm excited to learn more about that.
Well, my books are for kids. I only have 1 for women, and the other 3 are for kids. And I'm in the process of writing another one for kids. In fact, I'm writing a couple for kids. And I am very accustomed to teaching or coaching using that method of I do, we do, you do. I've done it for 20 years as a teacher. That's what the objective that we had to post every single day. So I'm used to it.
Awesome. Yeah, it's for me, it definitely is a way to level up teaching. I believe if all teachers were coaches, our world of teaching would go to the next level. And I think the grades and all that's available would all be leveled up.
In fact, I've created some courses online that I'm selling, and I've been actually selling. There's an app for teachers called Teachers Pay Teachers, where teachers are creators, and I have been a creator for years and years and years, and I create my own online products, and I teach that method to other teachers. The I do, we do, you do. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. And Joey, thank you so much for being here. Joey's got to sign out. And I do see that Dinesh is off the telephone. Hi, Dinesh. How are you? Dinesh, are you available? He might still be on the phone and we just can't see that it's showing up. Well, with that, Sherilyn, how are you, Sherilyn?
Coach Les, is this our board meeting, or did we already have it?
This is Sherilyn. Yeah.
Hi, Sherilyn. How are you?
How are you?
I'm doing great. I hope that you had a chance to hear what I just shared about what we're up to here on this podcast.
You know, I am. I'm sitting here listening. I have been, I think, in this room once before. Zig Ziglar legacy. It's been a while. And maybe you were speaking. Okay, now it's coming back to me. So yeah, I was just absorbing what you're saying and just kind of taking it all in, and just kind of hanging out. I'm not really sure what podcast with Sujata is, but it sounds very interesting. And yeah,
I did. That was basically a placemat for me to remember. And then when I started the room, I went, "Oops, I didn't change it." So I did change it for next week, though. So when you come back next week, you'll see that there's a little bit. It's Life's podcast with Coach Les and Sujata, and our goal is to share stories about life and have people come in and listen to some of the breakdowns and breakthroughs of life and share the opinions of people and let the entire world of people that come to the stage, come to the social media platforms, have an opportunity to ask questions and share, because we know that when we raise the tide of conversation around the world, all boats rise. And our goal is to support everybody leveling up around the world of communications integrity and developing new pathways to make a difference in faith, family, and business, whatever faith that is. So thanks for stopping in, Sherilyn. Thanks for coming up on stage. Thanks for letting me put you on the spot a little bit. And if there is something along the way here that you hear and you want to jump in and share, please do me a favor and flash your mic or just come off and say, hey, this is Sherilyn. Can I jump in? And the answer will be yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And Sean, welcome. Thanks for coming in and stopping in. I'm going to invite you up. You can come up on stage and join the conversation as well. Really appreciate you being there. And I can see that Lightning, you're here. And I don't know if you're in a place. We don't mind the background noise. We'll still be able to hear you. So we'd love to have you come and join us. And I know that Lotus, your sister, Sujata's other daughter, has been in and out and in and out and in and out. So I'm just going to blame it on technology. Hi, Sean. How are you?
I'm good. I just literally got in the room a few minutes ago, and I actually couldn't figure out how to answer you. The navigation I'm still working on.
Well, thank you so much for doing that. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah, so I just heard briefly when Sherilyn, you explained to her what was going on, what's going on. So I'd like to listen for a minute because I do have lots of stories, so experience, and I would love to just listen for a minute. And
well, I can definitely, and this is with, I'm going to use this word because for me, it's going to be an acknowledgement, and I'd like you to hear it that way. I'm looking at your bio, and you definitely, I'm clear, have lots of stories to share with that motley crew that's surrounding you in your bio.
Thank you. I was speaking with my daughter earlier, the one that I'm squatting down with, and she's like, you don't have a bio. And I was like, I hold people who consider themselves to be writers to be accountable when you hit click and send off. And I don't know exactly yet what to say on this particular platform and the bio that's on there. And in all honesty, me being authentic, my son created the Facebook for me. And I'm probably one of the few people who actually looked up how do you navigate through Facebook, because I still don't know how to do that, because it's like, I'm a people person. So this being said, I am excited about learning navigating, because I literally just got on Walmart.com and ordered groceries from my dad, and I had my kids do that for me. And I called my son and I said, I did it on purpose. Like I write, but I don't know. Thank you for the space.
Oh,
listen, I don't want to babble.
Oh, it's quite all right. You should have heard Sujata and I, we were babbling when we started because there was nobody around.
You're not alone. I'm a people's person, but I've been shying away from social media for as long as I can remember, till Coach Les came into the scene, and he managed to make me get into Facebook group, Instagram, which is totally alien to me, and I still do not know how to operate it, and I struggle. I've given up. I also don't see the point, because people don't like, people don't share, people don't comment, so it's okay.
What was that, Sean?
I was gonna say, like, I want to get on social media, but like I wouldn't say opinionated, but I really feel like seize the moment and speak. And like I don't not like a lot of stuff. It's just a lot of like offering I could give to people, and it's just like, damn, the world ain't ready for me. My daughter said today, yes, they are. Because it was like a year that I was invited into this by my daughter, and it's like I just like the last week and a half, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this an addiction? Or are these actually like people like me, sort of?
Amen. It can be an addiction. I would suggest highly doing your best to schedule your time that you spend on here. Otherwise, it can definitely become an addiction that eats away at your sleep time. It eats away at your lifetime.
And you know what's crazy is like my 11 kids, they're in rotation. So I have, when I say addiction, like genetically incapable of becoming addicted to anything. I used to say love is my only weakness. And I count that now as a strength. Because like I said, you love everybody. I do. And when they call or anybody says something and I want to or I'm going to, and you don't do, so you've already invaded my space. So when I say addiction, it's like, to me, this is awesome because this platform's in my head and I don't get on because time is priceless. You can't bank it, you can't save it. You can either spend it, burn it, or invest it. And this is an investment to me. And yeah, so I am like, I just love this. This is a good platform for me.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks.
Silence, like, oh my gosh, what is the silence? It's like.
Well, thank you for honoring us by coming in and visiting.
Appreciate it.
And with that, we'll move on to the next topic and keep on moving through topics. And we look forward to you contributing as we move through.
Okay, thank you. I'm excited.
You're welcome. Jeanette, you look like you have something to share because you're smiling awful lot.
I always smile.
Yes.
Because if I don't smile, people tell me I look like I'm mad.
No, don't listen to people.
Well, I think I'd rather smile. It's good for the
Exactly. And you have a beautiful smile.
Thank you. See, Coach, I'm it's not that I have to say something. It's just that I'm happy. I'm feeling great.
Well, there you go. Well, it's a wonderful opportunity, and you know, I'm just grateful to see the expansion of what we're creating here, because I know that there's so much wisdom that exists even here right now on these stages with 4, 8 people, 9 people that can make a difference on this planet and in this game. It's super exciting for me to do this and to learn how to do it. And I've made a commitment. My goal is to be doing 5 podcasts a week, because I see the value that can happen when it's spread across a lot of platforms. And even if people see it and they throw a question up and they go, hey, and they do what I would call sending a text message on Facebook or commenting on the post, which allows us to, I can see it on my end and I can answer that comment. You know, it's like having 9 different fingertips out there touching the different keyboards. And I want to share the message. I want to get this message out to people. I want people to have an opportunity to come and ask questions, to come and connect to this wealth of information that exists with each person that's here, and not, have to have this fear of, oh my goodness, it's another coach that's charging $1,000 a week to communicate with. And it's also somebody that, has surrounded himself with people that can level up anybody from child to grandparent. So I'm excited. I'm excited about how this is working out. I'm in the process of upgrading my equipment and taking it from one level to the next level to be able to do some of the things I'm doing where I don't have to bend a mic down and put it next to the speakers on my cell phone. So, Sabrina, do you have any questions?
No questions particularly, but I am excited to dive into Sujata's book. I was just looking at her profile, trying to find out how we can purchase a copy.
It's there on Amazon. Maybe in Clubhouse we can. No, I don't know whether you can pin a link or not.
Yes, of course we can.
Yes, that would be great if you could share that.
Yeah, you just have to make sure it has the HTTPS and everything.
Let me know if you want me to do that.
You can do that.
Yeah, there you go.
link.
Go for it, Jeanette. I'll answer for Sujata. She wants you to do that. Hadassah, how are you doing, Hadassah? We haven't heard from you in a while. Are you still enjoying being here?
I am still enjoying being here. I'm multitasking.
Oh, I love that. Do you have any questions or points for us to?
No, I don't have any questions or points right at this time.
All right.
I have a question.
Oh, perfect. Go for it, Sean.
I was like, I don't know how to navigate still, and I followed. So I could see eventually what the title of the book is. I don't know what the title of the book is or what it's about.
It's coming up right now. It'll be right above you in that pinned area.
Okay, and my daughter said pin her into this. Okay, I'm learning. Literally taking notes. But what I was going to request, set interject, is if you could like read an excerpt.
Oh, I'd love to do that, and Sujata would love me to.
Great. Oh, okay.
Yep, that's one of my favorite things to do.
Alrighty then. Wow, I'm listening.
So, do you know that Coach Les has already? He was the first person on Clubhouse to read the book from first page to the last page, and after that, there are people who follow what Coach Les does. Okay, so there's another club, and there were other ladies who were moderators. They also just recently finished reading the book aloud, and sometimes I would read it too. So we would take some chapters by the mods and some chapters I would read aloud. And it's not to give credit to my book or to myself, but it truly is a story which resonates with most people. And it's a book you can read again and again. And why shouldn't it be read again and again? Just because I may not be so and so doesn't mean that I don't have things to offer and which people can learn.
Absolutely. Right? I would have to say that you sound humble, but don't take away anything from.
Yeah, we can be humble, but
and gives is always it's a tough word for me, because always is like absolute, but there's always something from everything you can take away, and resignation may not be in that moment. It may be parallelistic, and to come back to it, but that's your work. I mean, to write anything, and that's like discipline. That's like everything, and like I tell my daughter and my kids, like
I wouldn't say shame me, but they're always on me because I literally have so much writing, and like everywhere I go, it's like I said, seize the moment. If I could say how many lives I've impacted to a degree that's impacted me as well. It's like the what you call the lights and all that stuff. It's like, man, please. I couldn't even it's probably like you and most of everyone. Like, I call it the ripple effect. I put my foot down where I'm at, and the waves and go all the way out. It's not where you go, it's where you're at. And what you do right then, because if everybody leaves the hood or the situation, nothing will ever elevate. And like, I appreciate that. Like, I can't wait to figure out how to do this. And I'm just going to push the little bell so that maybe if somebody reads something until I figure it out.
Now, will you?
I'm glad I didn't pin my daughter, because she'd be like, my kids say, how can you be so, and you don't, it's laziness. It's not laziness. It's like eyeballs. It's my eyeballs. I'm putting on my eyeballs. Okay.
Yep. I was gonna say, did you know how to ping your daughter in?
Janet has
No, I
put
don't.
the link in.
That you could, I guess, see where people are at or have been in rooms or something.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm gonna request that you figure it out, daughter. They're gonna put it back on me because I always say, I'm gonna give you it. You open the toolbox. You got the tool.
Yep. So
All the things I said to my kids are biting me.
So if you go down to the bottom, you'll see a little, it looks like a little chat circle with the number 5 and a red dot. Then you'll see next to it another circle with looks like a page with an arrow with a 3 next to it. If you push that button, you'll see where it says, then the little menu will pop up. It'll say share on Clubhouse, share via copy link, and invite people. And you can, if you click on that invite, is your daughter on Clubhouse right now?
Well, I don't know if she's physically on Clubhouse. Well, what time is it?
It's 11:39.
She's probably writing, but I just want to ask a question because I don't want to lose this.
You won't.
I'm in the hallway where it says hallway. So if I push that arrow down, then I'll go to the space you're talking. Let me see if I lose you guys on me. I don't see any numbers, but I'll hit replay and I can save this and go back to the directions, right?
Yep.
Okay, there you go. I'm just, look, I'm learning. And she said, I want to join the rooms you're in. I'm like, oh, look, I do love it, but I just love this. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
We enjoy Coach's rooms.
And Les, I didn't even know I was like on Coach Les' room because I think this was like, I'm not sure. I have to go back when I figure out the navigation. But if I can flip through my notes, but that was last week, and I have filled at least four notebooks since then. I always say I'm gonna keep it organized and put it in the computer, and then I keep writing. But yeah, so that Les, I know. I listened to Les, and I think it was about marketing. I almost think. I'm not sure. I don't know if you ever spoke about it. But
oh yeah.
I mean, really, I don't know. I don't want to make. I'm not going to be embarrassed because I don't think I could be embarrassed since I fall down for no reason, and I probably would just laugh. But I think it was about marketing, but I really took notes thinking about my daughter. And your wife and the kids come in and you met and married maybe 15 years almost. I'm not sure. Just the same Les. When was that marketing? Have you been married for like almost 15 years?
I haven't been married 15 years. I've been married to different people for over 15 years.
Well, see, I see the number 15. See, I'm somewhere in the vicinity. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. You got that right. You've got those.
I literally remember, and I think I hit follow. I know I did because that's how you're on there, and I hit the little bell. So when something comes up, so yeah, that's you. It's 15, married, marketing. So here we go.
Well,
you know,
we're
for me.
we're excited to have you here. And we also have a room called the 24-hour Bible study.
I seen that. See, that's what I'm saying. I got the follow you thing in my little light, the little bell. Look, see, I'm working on it.
It's beautiful. We appreciate it.
You guys have met one of the most, I call it right. The only tattoos I have is elite and real, which if I could change the real to something be authentic. So I was learning. But elite 11 plus, and the elite 11 is me. I met my children, but the plus is everyone else.
I love it.
Plus.
Well, we're honored and privileged to have you here, and thank you for joining in. And I just want to do a quick shout out to Harold. It's good to see you. Harold is definitely becoming like a major regular in every single room I'm in, Jeanette. And I just want you to know that I noticed that and appreciate you, Harold. So I know you're down in the audience. I just want you, I know you're listening, and I so acknowledge and appreciate people that come in and listen. You know, without listeners, I got nothing except talking to dead air. So thank you so much for being one of the people that I can count on. And I know that you've been here and come on stage occasionally, Harold, when it works for you. So thank you for that as well. And you can also, if you ever have any questions, Harold, feel free to send a back channel to any of us. And, you know, I never have a problem with somebody chiming in and going, hey, Coach Les, I got a question. And it came from Harold. So never have any fears. We're all about communicating here, however it works. And with that, I'm going to just check in with Sujata and make sure she's okay with me reading where I stopped and thought would be a fun place to read from her book and the story, because it's, I think, a story that will share a really cool experience. Because Sujata, what faith did you grow up in? Hindi?
Okay. So first I must make clear that I was born into Hinduism.
Yeah.
But we were not taught to follow any religion.
Okay.
After my father died and my mother had a leaning towards Christianity because she was very close to the Archbishop. She had been in a boarding school which was run by the Irish nuns, and we ourselves went to convent school. So we had a leaning towards Christianity. But we were not told to be religious. We were told to be human. Being human and kind was our religion. However, I had my spiritual experience in Barcelona, Spain, and in a monastery. Yeah, I gather that's what you're going to read. My meeting with God.
Yes. So this is chapter 13. Meeting with God, the spiritual experience. Ever since we had gone to Montserrat and I had downloaded the choir songs, I started having strange experiences. The choir song started playing by itself randomly. Whether I shut the laptop or rebooted it, it would come and go by itself. I knew it was a sign that I needed to go back there. So I convinced Mr. Tiwari, who agreed very reluctantly, as there was a language problem, not always safe, was going alone.
By the way, just to stop, Mr. Tiwari is not written in the book. That is Coach Les putting it in. You're not supposed to reveal names.
Well, you are Sujata Tiwari, so
I am just Sujata. How many times do I tell you respectfully, I am just Sujata? Do you see the cover of the book? It says Sujata.
Okay.
Okay.
Have we seen what the whole world is seeing underneath your picture?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. We're having a lover's spat here. A brother and sister lover's spat. Lightning, stop laughing. I can see your MS moving with laughter.
There used to be a program, a radio show called The Bickersons.
See, I envision this video podcast. We lost Cheryl and we lost. But Sabrina's, oh no, Sabrina's still there. All right. I envision having there Sean's back. Good to go. I envision having.
I'm so sorry. I lost it because I was really trying to say this is authentic because I got like 11 kids and they're like so not conformed. Oh, this is one of them calling me right now. Anyways, and when I read their writing, like one of them is like later, but I was asking to read it, and I'm like technical and fluidity and all that, and it's like written, wrote, write, past tense. It's like no, I don't. One word can change the whole context. But I love this authenticity of calling you on, and we family like woosah. That's okay then. I got you. Love that stand your ground. I'm just saying, I clicked the button, I lost it. I went through it. I found you. Okay, I don't mean to interrupt. I just really don't. I apologize.
It's all good. Have no fear. It gives us time to continue to grow our reach by putting questions. There we go. Look at that. Okay, here we go. Let me jump back into this. Sounds like I still hear the music. It's playing by itself randomly. I hear.
I mean, a suggestion, I would, if it were me, because you got the opportunity, let's do it one more again from the beginning, from the top.
I will do that. We'll start from the top. I'm sure Sujata would love to hear the beginning of this again. Meeting with God, my spiritual experience. Ever since we had gone to Montserrat and I had downloaded the choir songs, I started having strange experiences. The choir songs started playing by itself randomly. Whether I shut the laptop or rebooted it, would come and go by itself. I knew it was a sign that I needed to go back there, so I convinced my husband, who agreed very reluctantly, as there was a language problem, not always safe, was going alone and not well myself. The problem of the Schengen visa for Indian passport holders is that you get it for very short durations. I looked at my passport, and since I got the visa from another country, it was still valid, and only in that very month it was expiring. Sign 1 of the spiritual meeting. I wrote to Montserrat explaining my situation and asking for an appointment for special prayers and didn't get an answer. Not to be sidetracked, I approached the B&B, bed and breakfast, where I had previously stayed and requested them if they could fix a time, which they did. And I was given a date and time and the place, St. Joseph's Chapel. I took my Spanish chef friend, Ivan Tarago, into confidence and shared my trauma story with him. Guess what? It turns out that his stepmother sings at choirs and is very sought after by the archbishops. He asked if I would like him to fix a meeting with the archbishop. I said, well, I had fixed a meeting already to say special prayers, but if I get stuck, I'll take his help. I had fixed a meeting already to say special prayers, but if I get stuck, I will take his help. He said, okay, but while there, you should go to this monastery and meet the priest who has a modern outlook. I said, that will be great, and he said he will arrange that. Sign 2 of the spiritual meeting. My Greek friend, Maria, who I knew from my previous stay in one of the Southeast Asia country, had come for a visit. She was the one who had introduced me to the aromatherapy guide and whose meditation path I was doing. She was very interested in tarot card reading, and Lotus used to practice the craft, and still does, by the way. Whenever she used to do a reading for me, it was always the angel card reading, which worked better than tarot for me. And unfailingly, the 3 cards that popped out for me was Archangel, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. So on Skype, she did a reading for us. And when she did mine and the 3 angels popped out, she asked me if I was going on a trip. I said no, as I didn't want to tell the kids. And Lotus replied that I don't think you are telling me, but I do see you go somewhere, and wherever you are going and not telling your angels are going with you, and it will be a remarkable and successful trip. I was comforted. I embarked on my trip and reached my destination, but even before I reached, my husband decided to join me. He said that if he can reach the airport without going to the restroom and board the flight, he will join me. It takes at least 2 hours, if not more, to reach the airport, so it was going to be a real challenge. He managed to board the flight. The moment he boarded, his loose motion stopped instantly, and he ate a meal on the plane. A first in many days, having existing on water, rice, and potato or lentils. The person who joined me at the B&B was a changed, healed man. He could walk, run, and climb. Sign 3 of the spiritual meeting. On the appointed day, we made the journey through train up in the mountains from Barcelona, where we were staying. We reached well in time, but then our frustration started. We went to the office there. I would speak in English and the lady would talk in Spanish, and we weren't getting anywhere except for my dejected understanding that there was no appointment. Nothing. I was heartbroken, and we went into the main chapel. My husband was trying to console me. That doesn't matter. God wanted you here, and you are here. How does it matter if it was another part which we were supposed to go? Mother Mary's huge statue was right in front, but I felt utterly devastated. Out of the blue, literally, a young blonde woman came out with a group of small children that she was escorting. I stopped her and asked, "Do you speak English?" And she replied, "Yes, I do." So I babbled to her my turmoil, and she said, "Come with me." We went back to the same office, and she talked to the lady in Spanish and made her open the appointment book. And there it was, Sujata, St. Joseph's Chapel, 1 p.m. in the afternoon, just as the email from the B&B had said. She said, "Come with me, as you won't find, because it's not open for tourists." Led by her, we reached our destination, which was a chapel that was right behind the Virgin Mary's altar. And there outside was a priest waiting with a little black book, who confirmed my name and country from where I was coming. And he let us in and gently said, "Stay as long as you like," and closed the door. We barely sat down and the choir started singing, and I looked at my watch and it was exactly 1 p.m. I, who am not prone to crying easily, just dissolved into a sea of tears, which just poured and poured and poured. And I said to God, "I get it. Whether anybody loves me or not, you do. And just keep looking after me and loving me and make me a better person." God present was felt and seen by all the events till now. It was not yet over. We stayed for a long time, and when we had reached a state of peace and the quiet atmosphere, we made our way outside. On our previous visit, when we had come, we had never gone and climbed the mountains to the caves where Virgin Mary's miracles were supposed to have happened because of our physical limitations of knee pain, heart palpitations, weak constitution, and etc. But this time, we made it. Neither of us complained or felt any physical discomfort. When we reached the caves, the first thing I saw was the angel's wings that I used to see in my meditation, which the aromatherapy lady had told me to practice to connect with the divine. How did I see something in my waking subconscious mind which I had not seen before? Sign number 4 of the spiritual meeting. We descended with peace, comfort, which we had never experienced before. I felt gratitude and that I could fight anything against all odds. The love of one person is so powerful that it can make you climb mountains. Here we are, talking of God who is sending me such powerful message of love that it was enough for me to take on the world alone. But his message was not yet over. The best sometimes comes in the last. like speaker. Whoops, the best comes in the last, like dessert. The Spanish chef's Ivan Tarago's stepmother had come and met me with an interpreter who told me that my appointment at the monastery was fixed, and at a certain point the priest would send someone to pick me up. Her name was Monsi, and I didn't know the significance at that time, and came to know much later that her full name was Montserrat. Another warm person. Amazing coincidences. The next day I traveled a long distance alone to meet the interpreter, and he picked me up from the station. We then traveled a long, good hour's drive into the mountains. I wouldn't have found the place easily on my own. Now I was used to getting the miracles, and so the astonishment and heart-stopping moments were impacting on a gentler intensity. When we reached the top, it was the mountain hill which looked down to the valley of the city landscape. This was what I used to see in the meditation, looking down from the mountain. It was the same scene which I was now seeing in person. Sign 5, the spiritual meeting. There you go, Sujata.
You can't leave audience at the climax and say, there you go. You have to say what happened at the monastery.
No! That's why they get the book.
That's yes, they got to read the book.
Okay.
There you go.
It's a good book.
So what do you think? Sean, did you like that?
I loved it. I just write, like I said, my thoughts and words. This is not poetic, but I'm just gonna read my unlegible words that I wrote. All matters, seasons, you and I, it, most high, plus. Push out boundaries, parable, back, season, warm. It's not seen, sight. Not the same vision until easy, pause. Self, no, us, reach, see, sight, reason, potential. And that's like, I have to go back and write my filling in the blanks, but what it is like the things that I catch is all across the board. When it's like warm is like, always, they're not nice about it. Things aren't comfortable, but it is not seen. It's a sight until, you want it easy, but if everything was easy, just like butterflies and sunshine, then where would the miracle matter? And the reaching, the us and the season and not understanding is just that. It's like, it's not going to be clear until you're ready. And the religious and the all matters is like to push out the boundaries. Like religious is like, I don't know what religious is. I just know what moves me spiritually. And that's the I am. And this is amazing. It's like he's like, you didn't read this part. Whatever, girl. Spectacular. And when a person stumbles sometimes, it's because, or changes it up because I want to see it differently. It's a takeaway. It's always elevating. Your work is great, and that's work. That's what I call it work. Your job is to do to substantiate what's necessary for your work. And your work is who you are, which is the foundation and the fountain and the tree with the fruit on it. Like we don't, like the tree doesn't come to us, the fountain doesn't come to us. We go to that. And so like, I'm coming to you because you're a fountain. Like I'm just absorbing. It's amazing. And it's like we are perfect imperfection. Because accolades and complacent with that, you lose the fact of the matter is what's inside is everything. If the other matters, and you got to reach. So yeah, you got to move around to really know what was already there. Not religion. It's just,
Thank you, Sean.
mhm.
Sabrina, anything for you?
I want to piggyback off of Sean. She said something that kind of resonates with me when she said the I am is what moves her. And I couldn't agree more with Sean, honestly. That is like the source of everything. That's where, it begins. And the more you connect with source, be it by prayer, be it by meditation, it'll really just change your life. It's a game changer. And those are the things that I'm trying to do. I don't know if you remember Ravina sharing with me a particular type of meditation that would kind of help me with my blood pressure. So I am discovering and finding new ways to kind of take care of myself, mind, body, and spirit. And I just want to say thank you so much, Coach Les, for inviting me to the stage and having me on your platform. And I was able to go ahead and purchase Sujata's book. So I'm excited about that coming in the mail soon.
Thank you so
for
much.
having me, and I'm complete.
Thank you so much. And
You're
when you
welcome. Thank you for offering the book. I'm excited to dive in, and I can resonate with the title as well, Against All Odds. I love the title, so I think that I'll be able to connect with the book as well.
And I'd love to have your review at the end of it.
Awesome. I am up for the challenge.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Hadassah, what did you think about the reading?
I thought it was really good. Very interesting read. Definitely makes you want to look into it more. And of course, I always love the way you read. But it was definitely very interesting, Sujata. And I yield the mic.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. Sean, did you want to Sean, can you, by the way, can you speak a little louder if it's possible?
Oh my goodness, I really am trying not to speak loud. Yes, I've achieved that. Yeah, I can speak louder. And I don't want to click on to order the book because I don't want to lose the space because the navigation, is iffy for me. Can you hear me clearly?
Yep.
And the question would be, when I click on that site, is there an ebook or a book that can be immediately to my device, or an audiobook, or no?
There's a that you can opt to get the Kindle book.
There is no audiobook as of now.
Yeah, I'm working on putting the audio onto YouTube.
And the author is definitely helicoptering over the audio. That's not funny, but I am being serious. I'm a helicopter mom. I'm like, okay, the audio, because you're so intuitive, we interject our little pieces. I'm excited. So if I click on it, Kindle is not the same as I had a Kindle. I don't have it anymore, but it couldn't be switched over to an iPad or an iDevice at all.
Yes, when you got Kindle is available on iPad.
Okay, great. So it's like Nook, like, because I do Barnes and Noble kind of stuff. So.
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You may have to
Awesome.
download it, but Amazon has it available to download, and it's free.
I have 11 sources at least.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here.
Thank you all.
Jeanette, what did you think? I know it's the second or third time you've heard it.
Oh, I know. Well, I know the beginning and the end. And it is a great read. It's a great book to read. It's a great book sharing. We have the opportunity when you read it, a large group of us, and we kind of bonded, didn't we? It was a great group, great shares, and maybe we should do it again. It was just really good. So when you're ready to do the audio, Coach, maybe we can be in the listening lounge.
I think it's a great idea. I'm ready.
Is there something, Jeanette, that you just spoke a minute ago?
Yeah. So,
like she said, she read the book from beginning to the end. And
so I read it here on Clubhouse and recorded it on Zoom with Sujata. And I read who's the author, and I read it every night, or like 5 out of 7 nights, until we made it all the way through the whole book. And I recorded it.
So what would be your, if someone were to ask you, like me per se, your most impactful, if you could, in a haiku kind of a sense, if no one heard anything about this book, because this really resonated energetically for me, and what would you say in a haiku format, like about the takeaway, like you said you read it from beginning to the end? For anyone to do that more than once or a few times and be willing to do it with the energy that resonated to me, what is your specific movement?
You know what? Sujata has this energy about her. And when you hear the book and go through, because she's telling these actions, whether her actions or for others, and she's just this warrior person. In our time, she really is a warrior type person and you're going to get that out of the book. She's the type of person that if anything happens to you, she's going to battle for you. She is a warrior, and that's the power of her book. Is you're just rooting for her. You can just feel every emotion she's going through in this book.
I've only heard just like what you just read, and the people who have spoken, and the reason I asked the takeaway is exactly what you just did. Like, you just awesome, jumped in, and it's the energy of the other. To me, it's like, I have no idea what the whole book is about, but because sometimes the title is just really a scratching the surface of like the energy everybody's giving about this. It's like, it's raw, and I just love it. I just want to know what, like, if you had to pick out a few things.
Yeah, it's hard to pick up because
it's just like the love and the care and the authenticity of the struggle, and I don't know what it is about, but I feel like it's just bigger than her.
Yes,
that's just and I've only had like a few minutes. That's where I feel like I literally got chills, because it's like, let me jump in and put my armor on.
Exactly, and that's
it's awesome. I just love this. This is God.
Your questions are so good, and you're just, the, what should I say, the understanding of the book for just that little bit is really profound, because it's
Yeah.
a lot of challenges and struggles which I went through, including, a horrific crime. And I think Janet, Coach Les, don't want to reveal it all. So they're not sharing those parts. But when you will read the book, you will understand there's something for everybody. And when you say that, and Janet says that, I'm there, the energy, I am often saying in Clubhouse that I'm everybody's 2 a.m., 4 a.m. friend. And I've found a lot of people who reach out to me whenever they are unhappy, frustrated, or they have a problem. And it's cross borders. I have people who I'm rescuing in Nigeria. I have somebody in Pakistan. I have somebody in USA. So all kinds of this thing. But they know that I'm just a call away if they need me.
I have a question on that note.
I have an answer.
Ask as many questions as you
This
want.
is like so like I don't really have a loss for words ever. It's like I said about the social media and all the likes and stuff, and like you said about 4 a.m. It's like my kids are in rotation. It's like, why are you up at night? Have you ever thought to yourself? I mean, this is me struggling with the worthiness, and I know that for me, I'm worthy because of the sacrifice that Christ made. That's not why me. No, I don't have an exact question. It's like I'm appreciative of the reaching because it's so hard for people to just reach, and that's like the pivotal moment for me. Is like no one, and like I said always, but no one can do anything singularly. And like when people say it's I'm so blessed with like what you just said. The question would be, okay, get to it, Sean Ross. It's you ever feel like the crisis is a blessing? Like you say, you're stressing out. This is not that kind of stress. It's like if you can, you should. And like I said, if the crisis is a blessing, is that like crazy, insane? Because it's like people that don't even know me, they'll see me, they'll come to me. It's like many are called, few are chosen, and I don't want. We're not being boastful. Like favored is like individuals, like you and so many others that like they come to me, and I don't have the resources like what you do. You can't see it, but you know it. And that's a 15,000 part question. And thank you. And the question is like, it's just amazing. And like, I appreciate the profoundness is. It's like I said, it's like, I don't know any book from forward to the end in the Bible, even the labels of the religion from Pentecostal to Lutheran to anything. It's when that moves me, that's truth. That is truth. And it's just like, this is moving. And it's just like, good news, just not news channels. I'm just like, okay, so yeah, the question is like, you ever feel like it's like okay to be okay with receiving, let's figure this out?
My first chapter is titled The Biggest Tutor is Tragedy. And I believe that all your trauma, tragedy, life altering moments actually shape our character. We always have a choice, no matter how alone we are, whether to deal with it and shape our character or to break and give in and lose ourselves in it. That's why Janet calls me a warrior. because from age 10, I decided that I shall not be labeled or defined or be put in a box. And I will question and I will do what my gut instincts and conscience tells me to. And that's the story of my journey.
And imagine this, Sujata, when Coach Les read the book, you know, you're the warrior for other people. But when he read the book, he's always good at bringing people together. And by doing that book, the number of people that he brought together.
Yeah, because he's what I call, and I call all of you those, but of course he is a special one. He is what I call the human angel. And it's also, let me tell you this, these are not random things. We think we are making the choices. I can assure you that we are not. I was compelled to write this book. There came a time, when I finished the court case, exactly when I finished the court case, and I had no more court rooms to go to. How exactly did COVID happen? How exactly did the lockdown happen? If that lockdown had not happened, if I was still running my business, which was open, I would not have had time to write this book. But I felt a calling that now is the time that I write the book. And look at where this has led me. If I had not written the book, I had not come into Clubhouse. And it's not that I asked Coach Les to read the book. It was, as you know, one day in the room, he took me by surprise and just said out of the blue that I bought your book and I'm going to read it aloud. So I say that he's the chosen one. He was meant to read my book. The story, the angels always find a way as to who should do what. We think we are in control, but actually we are not.
We're not.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. What were you going to say, Sujata?
I finished what I was going to say.
No, I know, but you just took a breath and I thought you were going to say something else.
No.
Me too.
And the audience thought you were as well. So there. My goodness. Thank you. Okay. Let's see here. Oops. Let me get back. Harold, did you want to come up on stage and ask Sujata any questions? Put her on the hot seat for a minute or two. It would be good for her. We'll see if he comes up. Or you can back channel and we'll.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for your comments, Sabrina.
Of course.
All right. Well, with that, I am saying that 12:20, 2 hours and 38 minutes is a good long podcast. And it's a perfect opportunity to slide gently out of existence until the next time. Is there anybody that has a question or a comment before we do that?
I just have a question for Sujata. What is your intention for the book?
Very simply put, I wanted to inspire all the voices which are not heard and to come out. So I have to now, at this juncture, share with you a little bit about why I wrote the book specifically. My daughter got raped 8 years back, and I decided that I would fight for justice without thinking about what would be the outcome, whether I would get justice or not. Because all my life, I've decided to do the right thing and not wait for the results. So there are many, many people out there who do not ever come out, who never report, and who carry the trauma the family suffers. And it's like a lifelong. It doesn't matter what quantum of sentence, if at all, the perpetrator gets. But for the family, for the victim, it's something which is lifelong, which even judges have said. And so I wanted this book to inspire people that if I could do it, so can you. You must always say no to any kind of abuse, and you have to stand up if we have to, take the right actions. And that's why I wrote this book. It's supposed to be an inspiration. Whether people are bullying you, harassing you at school, at college, at workplaces, there is a story in there for every bit of it and how I dealt with it.
Wow, that was so powerful for you to take that stand. And thank you so much for sharing. I cannot wait until mine arrives. Thank you for sharing.
And I met God when I was totally alone. When I decided to take that step, that's when I met God.
Don't say any more.
Yes, sir. My lips are sealed.
She's itching to say the rest of the paragraph, and I want people to discover that the rest of the chapter is the juice to get people to go and get the book. So
Consider this your book tour, Sujata.
Yeah.
all right.
Thank you, Coach.
You are welcome. We will see you tomorrow morning in the 24-hour Bible study. Sujata, I'm sure I will see you at some point. Make sure you get some rest, sleep.
I shall try.
Take a nap.
Yeah.
There is no try, just do.
I know.
Amen.
You have to accept me with the words try and but.
Amen.
Well, that's why you're in the middle between me and Coach Les.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you hear the way that I close the room on StreamYard. You can see and experience the closing. And we look forward to the next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Coaching with Les has doubled my practice.
If you have any struggles in your business or your personal life, Les is your guy.
He's logical, he's empathetic, he has passion for helping people, and his ideas are genuinely thoughtful.
So if you're looking for a business coach with integrity, choose Les Hill.